Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be looking at the advanced French and how to play against it. So advanced French always starts with this move e5, and here basically we're going to find our opponent's weakness. So here his weakness is his d4 pawn. So really try to recognize this French structure because you're going to see it a lot. So here we're going to attack this d4 pawn. If they go knight f3, we can generally just take on d4, knight takes d4, and put pressure on this e5 pawn. This diagonal is going to be open. And at some point he's going to play f2 at f4, and we're going to probably go bishop c5, knight c6. If here, I generally like this, and now we have ideas like this. We can open up his bishop, and here we just have a very nice position. White's a little overextended and weak. So here they're generally going to go c3, just to solidify this pawn structure, and now we're going to keep applying pressure, developing pieces. Probably the #1 way to play openings, just develop and keep pressure. So here goes knight f3. For a long time, I liked this bishop d7 variation and kind of castling queenside, but it was a little too crazy. So here we're going to look at a very solid, very strong way for black to play, and that's going to start with queen to b6. So here, the two weaknesses that we really want to hone in on in this position are b2 and d4. These two, you're going to see throughout these variations, are not the strongest squares for white. So here, there's three main lines. Here we're going to start with bishop e2, and now we're going to take on d4, and here we're going to find the weakness, knight e7. How do we put pressure? We're going to bring this knight from e7 to f5. So we go knight e7, and now let's say castle. You just forget the pawn, I want to get my king to safety. Here we can play knight f5, and these two pawns are going to be weak. He can support with bishop e3, but now this b2 pawn goes. So if he castles, he's just going to lose a pawn. So now let's try knight a3. He's going to try to hold on to this pawn, going knight c2. So we go knight f5, knight c2. Here we go bishop b4 check. If he captures, we're happy. Queen takes, and now it's going to be hard to guard these two pawns. Bishop d2, we can take here. And queen d2, we kind of have this cool idea. We can play knight f takes d4. And when he takes here, we're going to stop him from castling, and we're going to enjoy our pawn up lead. So now let's go back and say he doesn't take on b4, and he goes bishop to d2. Once again, we're going to see these pawns are going to come under attack. Castle, we're going to bring our queen back. We don't want to get this queen trapped. So whenever we take this poison pawn on b2, we have to be very careful. Always make sure this queen will never get trapped here. So here we just take on b2. Oh, we go back to b6, he attacks. All the way back, knight here, just bring our pieces out. Now we're solid, and we're going to up a pawn. And now we're going to slowly march these guys down the board and try to make a pass pawn and really hit this weakness and try to make or promote this pawn. So that's the idea in that position. Now let's say he goes king f1. So this is always the most solid line, but I always kind of like this for the side that's going to castle. Because yeah, this king is going to have to take some time to get safe, and in the meanwhile, this rook on h1 is going to be essentially useless. So here we're just going to preserve our bishop pair, go bishop e7, and you'll see if g4, knight h4, and he's kind of a little bit weak, and you'll see this f6 idea move a lot. So f6 is going to open up this position, probably castle queenside, play bishop d7, bishop d7, castle queenside, and then just open up and try to checkmate him with this weak king. And you'll see that if he plays h4 too. So h4, we're going to go h5, g3, so he's trying to get his king to safety, and now f6. And we'll try to get this bishop into play. If we can get this bishop into play, this is the problematic bishop in the French. Either open up with e5 or go bishop d7, bishop c6. b6, bishop b7 looks a little bit slow. So once we open up, we're just going to get this bishop involved, and we'll have a very nice position, and now we know the plan. Alright, so that's kind of this take on this bishop e2 variation, probably the more solid of them. The key idea here is hit the weakness, and then we're going to go bishop b4 check. So now let's say knight c3. So when we go here, he's going to try this. Now this bishop b4 check move, once again, is the key. Now he can go bishop d2 and only trade when you need to. So here we're going to apply pressure. If he takes here, for example, he's going to have a problem with this pawn over here. And that's the big idea. That's what I really want you guys to take away. Where do I play in this opening? Not how do I memorize each one of these variations. Okay, so now let's go over a different variation. So instead of bishop b2, let's say he goes bishop d3. So here this weakness is this d4 pawn, because this bishop is now in the way of this queen protecting this d4 pawn. So we take, and now we don't take here. Now this is a very big blunder, because here he has this bishop b5 check move. It's discovered check, and he's about to win your queen. Always try to recognize this pattern. Queen, piece, piece, or queen, piece, queen. Always, this discovered check is going to win what's ever behind it. So you want to recognize that and never try to fall for that. So here we just commonly play bishop d7 first, and then we're going to take this d4 pawn. So let's say they castle. They can't go bishop e3 because this b2 pawn, once again, the second weakness in this opening. So castle. Now here we just take this pawn, and here we can definitely get away with it. So here he goes knight c3 to try to hit these two dark square weaknesses, and he's bringing a piece out. So here we're just going to go a6. So queen e2 is trying to bring the rook in. We go rook to c8. If he ever goes bishop e3, we can just take this pawn on e5. So here rook c8, now rook d1, and now we play a combo, bishop c5, bringing pieces out. And we want to develop like this. And now if he takes here, we have this queen takes f2 check move. So take, and now we're going to liquidate into a pawn up endgame, and here this pawn is going to be a huge strength for us. And this pawn is an isolated pawn, and it's weak. Okay, so now let's go back. If he does play bishop takes h7 here, we have an even better move than queen takes f2, which we can play, but we can play queen h4. And now 1, 2, 3 are all attacked, and it's going to be impossible for white to protect everything. So now let's backtrack a little bit. So that's this bishop d3 line. So recognize when he goes bishop d3, d4 is the weakness. But remember, don't go too fast because he has this discover check idea. So now let's look at this a3 line. And this one I like to call the Andreykin line. Andreykin's a very strong grandmaster. I think recently won a big tournament, and he plays this a lot. So here we lock up the queen side. So here when he plays a3, he's trying to go b4 and kind of grab space over here, and then slowly bring his pieces over. So here we go c4 to prevent that. And here now we're just basically going to put this queen side on lock. So we're going to move knight a5, and you're going to see some very, very interesting but cool maneuvers to lock up this queen side and then start an attack on the king side. So he's going to go bishop e2. So white's going to try to castle here. He can't push yet because he'll lose a pawn. So bishop d7, castle, knight e7, bringing this knight over to this queen side, and now you'll see rook b1. So to move away from this kind of line of fire, we're going to go queen c7. If he goes b4 here, it's a blunder because we have en passant. And after knight takes, bishop a4, and if knight d2, a c3 goes. Otherwise, we threaten to take on b3 and win an exchange. So he can't go b4 yet. So here he'll probably go rook e1, just trying to get his pieces in. Now we go knight to c8, not to knight to c6, like the more natural move, but here knight to c8. For one, knight c6, it cuts off this bishop from guarding this a4 square. Now this knight, you can see, is coming to b6, and we're going to lock down these two squares over here. So here, let's keep going. So here, knight f1, knight b6, and once again, you see the squares are on hold. So now here, we're going to go h6, threaten to play g5 and push, and now the attack begins. Castle queen side, nothing to worry about over here, and everything to look for over here. f6 and g5, bishop e7, g5, rook g8. We're going to get our pieces over, and we're just going to launch a queen side attack. So there, that is how to play against a3. The big thing is, see, what does this move do? a3, he's trying to play b4, so we stop him, and that would be the Andreykin variation. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, make sure to check out wolfchess.org. We've got plenty of puzzles, lessons, and all that kind of good stuff. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you were entertained.